It is 9:05 on June 10th. While there is no marker, I am at mile 700. I just hit mile 700. Well, there you go. So a tenth of a mile is actually a long way. So I was at the very beginning of the 10th of a mile. Somebody put the marker a little bit further in the 10th of the mile, but I'm still at mile 700. This feeling is a lot like when I hit 100 miles. I've talked about before how I came to discover the PCT. It was basically just a friend, Eric, inviting me on a backpacking trip in the Sierras. You find out about the ultralight gear. You hear about ultralight and you hear about long distance trails. That kind of flows from there. Same thing happens in my brain. I'm like, man, I'd like to do part of that. The Sierras, my favorite section. That being said, I haven't experienced the entire PCT, obviously, but what I mean is I love the Sierras. And you hit the PCT quite a bit. So you start thinking you can do a part of it. And then I finally broached it with Kathy. And I'm like, I think I want to try a part of it. And I was like, I think I can do the desert section. That's 700 miles. So that would be a huge goal. And that really was what put me on this path. And then you start talking to people and they're like, well, you're going to do the whole thing? And you start like, yeah, why not? It's only 26:53. It's not that much. It's just a number. But I'll tell you, the desert's been hard for me, especially with these heat waves, with the feet. I think I hear about what's happening at home. That's definitely a factor. And Kathy started reminding me that, my goal was initially just to do the desert section 700 miles. So, that first 100 miles, you're not sure really if you can do it. 100 miles, when you break it down, I had 8.7 miles, right? It actually is going to be around 10 by the time I get there, because you have to actually walk to the general store. But, it's like, oh, that's only 8.7. It's no big deal. Well, it still takes 3.5 hours or so if you're going 2 miles an hour. It's not nothing. And, you start throwing around these big numbers like 700. Doesn't sound that bad. 700 of something is not a lot. $700, it's a nice chunk of money, and you can go do nice things with that, or you can buy nice things with $700. But it's not $1,000, and it's not $1. But you start walking and you go 100 yards and like, man, I got a long way. And and you start putting together these. I was tired last night and I was in pain, but I did 24.1 miles. That's a lot, and over 4,000 feet of ascent. That's also a lot. And if I did 4,000 feet of ascent, I did 4,000 feet of descent probably. And those are just the two big climbs. You don't realize until you're doing it. Like, I had to stop because I'm going up again. So I think the elevation changes between 300 and 500, back and forth in these 10 miles, but that adds up after a while. So clearly I get a little choked up, and that's kind of why. Yes, I realize my math is off. If you're doing 2 miles an hour and you're doing 8.7 miles, it's 4.5 hours roughly. I get it. I was kind of doing it by 2.5 miles an hour, but I say things like that all the time. Trust me, I know when I do it. Well, half the time I know when I do it. Okay, I want to show you guys something that I did from Walker Pass. So this water bottle has been in my back in like the mesh part, and excuse the awkward angles, but this water, that's the seal that I'm taking off now. So I carried that in my mesh because it was so hot. This was my emergency 750 mil, so I didn't even count it when I was planning my water carry. I didn't plan to use this, just so I knew, like basically this became like an emergency oxygen bottle for me, but water. And I think that worked out good because I knew I had that peace of mind that I could just drink the water as I needed it, the water that I was carrying, the water that I planned for. And I had that peace of mind that I wouldn't run out. So a couple of 3 or 4 times I ran out of my normal water, but in the back of my mind I knew I had this reserve, and I didn't have to break it open until now. At 700 miles back there, I think I have 3.7 or 3.4 from there, so I think I'm safe to crack this open and I get to enjoy actual filtered water, although I would not mind drinking out of that Kern River because it's fresh snow melt. So yeah, this was kind of a personal thing that I did just for my own peace of mind, and I just ignored the wait. Now I get to drink it off. Perfect. First look at Kennedy Meadows, the actual Kennedy Meadows. We made it to Kennedy Meadows. There's a whole group of us. And there's 2 behind me. So this is the iconic general store. Woo! So that's the welcome to the general store and the end of the desert section. Look at all these people. So we made it. So I met Peppa on trail right before here, and we ended up talking and we crossed the paved road and kept going. So I did a bonus mile today, further up the trail than needed to be. So we were just intensely in conversation, and she finally realized that we'd passed her turnoff. So what you saw was us coming up with another group of hikers. And so now I am having a beer and a LaCroix, and we'll be welcoming other hikers as they show up. I'm at the back of the property and have my own little spot set up. So it's early still. But yeah, the tree should block the western sun here eventually. But I have the general store to stay at, so I don't really care too much. No need to go to bed early. So this is kind of the campground. More permanent tents, I think, are used by the staff here. Like those big tents, I think that's what the staff uses, because they're only here for a couple months during hiker season, and then the owners take back over because the volume goes down after the bulk of the hikers get through. So property goes back quite a ways, and so yes, there's lots of tents, but you kind of have your own spot. Then where those people are standing, that's the laundry, and then one of the metal sidings is the shower, sorry. So washers only, and then you can line dry, and then that's the bathroom right there. So this is 2 Foot Adventures, and I talked about the resupply at the outfitters that are around here. So I kind of confused 2 different outfitters, and I wanted to clarify. So 2 Foot Adventures is the one that is mostly based in Julian and comes up here during the bubble part of the season. Very nice outfitter, nice people, experienced hikers as well. And then there is and I'm at the general store still, which is where they're set up. And then there's another outfitter that's down by Grumpy's. So that's the van to Grumpy's. That's why I stopped, was because I was debating whether I go and take that or not. But I'm gonna wait here. So then there's a second outfitter called Triple Crown Outfitters, and they're the one that are down by Grumpy's. That's the one that's run by Yogi, who's an experienced hiker and is very hiker oriented.
I love these 2 songs I heard. I know these songs, but yeah. I just didn't know her name. But anyways, I was yes.
Okay, here's Grumpy Bears. We're gonna go check out the inside and see what this is like, and then we'll go check out the Triple Crown Outfitters. So out back behind Grumpy's is the washer, which is right there, and then the bathrooms, and then the shower is behind that tent, outdoor showers. Here's Triple Crown Outfitters, the sign. It's down on the dirt road a little bit, so you kind of have to pay attention, but Grumpy Bears is right across this one field. So you just have to walk on the road to get here, and then they do have, sorry for the fast camera, I know I always say that. On the road, you can actually see that TCO. So as long as you get the acronym, you'll find it pretty easy. And then the general store obviously is to the north of us, which is left.